and Shakalicious XL gummies with the grinning face of Shaquille O'Neal. Okay, I've got to have some of those. These treats will be in the store shelves just in time for Halloween. I also have a lot of questions.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have put Shaq and Halloween together, but hey, we'll take it.
Delicious.
Alex, give us the weather.
I can't top that one, sorry. Yeah, that's the best we can do. All right, so already beginning to see some scattered showers out there at this hour. Take a look at this from Atlanta down south and west of the city from, that's going to be Haralson County, Carroll County, down into Troup County, even on the north side of the metro now, a couple scattered showers in Forsyth County. That's going to be the name of the game here through the afternoon, and eventually I expect those scattered showers to become storms. So the rain chance remains relatively low here through at least the noon hour, 1 o'clock, and then it is elevated into the evening tonight with the risk of showers and storms. I would say, generally speaking, as the kids are coming home from school, I'm not necessarily planning on doing anything outside because that shower risk is going to be at a greater chance than not across the area. But if you want to do something outside, tomorrow might be a better day for it, and then definitely for the weekend. Tomorrow's rain chance cut in half at 30%, 90 there on Friday, and then into the low 90s for Saturday and Sunday. It's been a couple weekends since it's been a summertime weekend in North and Central Georgia. I think this weekend's going to be one of them with a low rain chance each afternoon, and then we're going to continue that warming trend right on into next week.
Alex, thank you. Let's take a look at what's to come on Fox 5 News at noon. The Fulton County District Attorney is talking about a 2007 cold murder case. She's asking for the public's help to learn more details and talking about the suspect, so we'll have a live report straight from her news conference. We will also be staying on top of the latest in that CDC shooting, the very latest on the timeline and full events, along with details on the suspect.
Thanks for joining us for Good Day Atlanta. Sherry is coming up next.
Stay connected to us through streaming on fox5atlanta.com and on Fox Local.
You can also follow us on social media. We're everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. We'll see you right back.
With us here at 11 a.m. It is great to have you on this Wednesday. We've got a lot of news stories to get to, and one of the biggest ones we're awaiting is a news conference that's supposed to start here in Fulton County in just a little bit. District Attorney Fonnie Willis is set to address a arrest and a brutal cold case murder back in 2007. I want to run through a couple of the details here as we wait for this to begin. We know that the DA's office is going to be urging you guys, if you have any information about this cold case, to please share it with them. It involves a Nicole Alston's body, and some of the details I'm going to read you or share with you right now are going to be graphic, so if you have some little ones in the room, I do want you to take note of that. But Nicole Alston's body was found in a burning bag with her hands, feet, and head missing. This was back in 2007, and it was discovered along the side of a Troup County road. Now, the DA's office is ready to announce an arrest in this case, and it actually involves, according to the information that they have shared with us, they plan to charge her former girlfriend with her murder along with stealing her identity. So this was an incredible story that we've been following for some time, and now close to 20 years later, the DA's office has an update. They've been trying to figure out who killed 24-year-old Nicole Alston, and it happened back December 6th in 2007. Troup County Sheriff's deputies responded to a report of a suspicious black bag burning at the corner of Whitfield Road and Stitcher Road. And once they arrived, they found partially burned human remains with the hands, feet, and head missing of this person. The case, again, has remained unsolved for years, but in 2023, DNA evidence came to light, and they were able to review this again. They sent DNA evidence to Innovative Forensic Investigations in Virginia and Gene Laboratories in Texas for analysis. And they began to look into this situation to figure out who could have done this with technology improving. Results were compared by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's Crime Lab. And on December 13, 2023, authorities were able to confirm the remains belonged to Alston. She was a 24-year-old, and her known residence was actually in Manhattan, New York. So a lot of ties here between New York, Atlanta, and then over in Troup County, where this is all connected. We're going to be listening in to the DA's office in just a little bit as they update us on this story. Again, they are expected to announce an arrest in Nicole Alston's case. But in the meantime, while we wait for this to begin, I do want to get a check of your weather forecast with meteorologist Alex Forbes, who is standing by. So, Alex, I'm going to toss it over to you. I know that we are looking ahead to potentially some severe weather. So what do you have for us?
Rather than strong thunderstorms and whatnot, while they're still possible, we're going to be looking for more of a flooding risk. And I'll show you that here in North Georgia in just a moment. But first, we've got low cloud cover out there right now. Not as low as it could be, right? We have seen instances where we can't see the tops of the buildings. 81 is where we stand now in Atlanta with mostly cloudy skies, a breeze out of the west at 8 miles an hour. So here's Fox 5 Live Viper. Drill it down in here into the metro area first. You see a couple of sporadic showers, including one down there near the airport and some more where that came from down through Carrollton, Noonan, and back down in towards Meriwether and Troup County. So that's the writing on the wall for what's to come this afternoon. Even a pocket of heavier rain up in Randolph County at this hour. Also up in, that's going to be in northwest Alabama, looking for some pockets of heavy rain and some lightning strikes as well in and around the Chattanooga area. Of course, those are the spots that saw a lot of rain yesterday. We're going to talk more about that coming up here in about 20 minutes. But first, today, that flood risk across the northern part of the state, it's not too high, but it is elevated. So if we see any of these heavier downpours over, say, Dalton, over towards Jasper, Blairsville, Toccoa, Dahlonega, those are going to be the spots that we're watching for some more significant impacts through the afternoon here across the state. Like I said, 81 in Atlanta, 83 over in Athens right now, 84 in Eatonton, and through the afternoon, here come the showers and storms as temperatures don't warm too much more than where we are right now. We're still looking for temperatures here into the low to mid 80s through the afternoon, which is cooler than yesterday's 90-degree high temperature. So the first time we hit 90 yesterday since August 1st. So 86 today, 89 there for Thursday, Ariel, 60% chance of rain on Friday. I mentioned it just a couple minutes ago on Good Day Atlanta. If your kids are coming home from school Friday afternoon and they're wanting to head to the pool, I'm thinking pushing that off to the weekend might be the better idea. 20% chance of rain on Saturday, 30% there on Sunday, and those temperatures are going to be running a little bit warmer as well.
Alex, I'm so glad you said something because yesterday, I know we have been talking about the cooler start to August, and yesterday was one of the first days I can say it does not feel cool anymore. Like, I'm struggling to breathe. The air's thick again. It's feeling like August.
And just for perspective, yesterday was right on average. So it wasn't even above average yesterday like we've got coming here through the weekend and into next week.
We got spoiled. Spoiled, I tell you. Okay, so of the 2 weekend days, do you expect more showers on Saturday as opposed to Sunday? What's the better chance for outdoor stuff?
Yeah, I'm thinking Sunday's actually probably the slightly better rain chance day. I would say this as well. Sunday's definitely going to feature more in the way of cloud cover. Notice that cloud's a little bigger there than on Saturday. So if you had a pick of the weekend, I think that's probably going to be Saturday, whereas Sunday, it's still going to be doable, right? Like you're still going to be able to go outside and enjoy it. It's just that you might have a little bit more of an impact from the weather department here in the metro area.
Okay, good to know. Alex, I do want to get with you again later on, and we're going to talk about Erin and some other things that I know a lot of people who are streaming with us have been asking about. So you guys, I'd like to talk to Alex again. If you're streaming along with us here on YouTube, put your questions for Alex in the chat. If you want to ask about Erin, the storm out in the Gulf and everything else, or not quite in the Gulf, but maybe potentially soon, we're going to get to that. Alex, thank you so much. Okay, guys, thank you so much for streaming along with us. I think one of the big stories we're going to get to as we await this news conference to begin, I want to recap and keep you updated on what we know about the shooting at the CDC last Friday. So I'm going to get to a shot of some video I want to let you see as we have learned a little bit more from some witnesses to this shooting. We actually caught up with a CVS employee who was inside the building, the CVS building, when this happened. And we understand that as shooter Patrick Joseph White was on the steps of the CDC and inside, or rather, should I say the CVS, inside the CVS and on the steps of the CVS firing his weapons. We know that a shift manager inside the CVS was there when this was going down. She heard the gunfire and she was, as she tells us, terrified. She says that she heard Patrick Joseph White firing. We know that he fired more than 500 rounds, and roughly 200 of those struck 6 CDC buildings. The shift manager at the CVS we spoke to only wants to be identified as Vonda, but she says her day started like any other, and the next thing she knew, she heard that gunfire. She followed the run, hide, fight advice that law enforcement give in active shooter situations, and she believes it saved her life. She dropped behind the counter and called 911 during a lull in the gunfire. I want you to listen to a little bit of what she told us.
We were like statues. We became a part of the register. And all I hear now is the gunshots, the clips dropping. And me and my manager being on the floor trying to remain quiet the entire while. It's still in me. I'm trying to ease it off, but it's all about family going forward.
Just incredible. She actually said the dispatcher did not realize the shooter had come inside of the CVS where she was. So she texted a friend of hers in law enforcement. She says that first responder, that law enforcement member she was able to text, actually directed first responders to the store. She tells us that he's her hero because he really saved her life. Working to get law enforcement where they needed to be during those critical hours on Friday. Now, the store was closed over the weekend at CVS, but it reopened Monday. So we'll continue to keep you updated as we learn any new details on this. But as you might imagine, you can see video just a little bit ago from the memorial outside the CDC where tributes continue to pour in for Officer Rose. And when we're looking at some of these tributes, it's not just the community that's heartbroken, of course, but also Officer Rose's family. We spoke with his mother, who's sharing her grief with us and the painful reality of losing her son. Devan Atkinson Burnett tells us she didn't believe the news that her son was shot and killed at first. She went into shock. She tells us he's taking it day by day. She says her daughter-in-law actually called her about her son, and she said she was walking with a friend about to stop for lunch when that call came in. I'd like you to listen to a little bit of what she told us.
You need to be here. And the police come in. I said, my son is dead. I knew then. I said, I knew my son is dead.
Just tragic. You were listening to a little bit of Officer Rose's mother. I can only imagine what she's going through. And this is such a hard situation, sharing her grief publicly. But she has said that having so many people support and seeing the tributes has been very powerful. She actually worked at Emory Hospital for many years. She says she called a friend who still works there when this was all unfolding. And that friend told her to get there right away. And it was then that she knew something terrible had happened to her son. Officer Rose was 33 years old, a husband and a father of 2. With a 3rd child on the way, he served as a U.S. Marine and he completed a tour in Afghanistan, and the whole community is feeling his loss. I do want to show you some video of some GoFundMes that you can support if you wish to do so. We're still awaiting funeral and memorial details. These have to be worked out with the family, law enforcement, the state. It's a multi-agency effort to coordinate, and right now we know that his family is working on finalizing those details with law enforcement to ensure that this is done as Officer Rose and his family wants it to be done. This will be a powerful thing that we'll see when it does come to fruition. As we know, law enforcement agencies will travel across the country to pay their respects to Officer Rose and his sacrifice. But while we await those details, I know many of you are asking how you can support, how you can get involved in helping Officer Rose and his family, leaving tributes and visiting the memorials, both the one at the CDC and the one at DeKalb County Police have set up with the patrol car, would mean a lot to their family. And they say that if you would like to support, you can also donate to these 2 GoFundMes. You can see here up on your screen. We have the links on our website. Both will support Officer Rose's family, and we'll continue to keep you updated as we learn any new details. As soon as we get information about funeral details that are being planned for Officer Rose, we will keep you updated right here on Fox Local and, of course, on our YouTube stream. Okay, guys, I want to switch gears here now and keep you updated on another story that we have been tracking here in the Fox 5 newsroom. We now know what charges the alleged shooter at Fort Stewart is facing. Yes, last week, of course, just a lot of news stories that happened, and we want to keep you up to date. So, U.S. Army Sergeant is accused of shooting 5 fellow Fort Stewart soldiers, in case you're unfamiliar with this story. And yesterday, Sergeant Cornelius Radford made his first appearance in military courtroom. He faces attempted murder, aggravated assault, and domestic violence charges. Army officials say one of the victims was actually Radford's romantic partner. So that is a significant development in this story that we did not know previously. He's been ordered to remain in pretrial confinement there on the Army base. And under military law, attempted murder carries a potential sentence or penalty of life in prison. Again, we don't know yet what the punishment for Cornelius Radford will be, but we'll continue to keep you updated as this moves through the Army's legal process, considering this happened there on the base, and they are the ones looking through this. Another story I want to keep you updated on as we look at some national headlines. One of the big things that I know a lot of you have been following and keeping up to date on is the National Guard coming in to Washington, D.C. And taking over the police force there. So I want to get into how that's going and what we know as far as those National Guardsmen actually arriving in D.C. So this happened just yesterday. Some of the 800 National Guard members actually arrived in our nation's capital. We know that the Trump administration has taken over the city's police department. President Trump says violent crime is out of control in Washington, D.C., but D.C. leaders are arguing that violent crime is actually at a 30-year low. So there's a bit of a back and forth here. President Trump can only legally take over. He can only legally take over the police force and have the National Guard there for 30 days. After that, Congress would need to sign off over a long-term federal presence there in our nation's capital as it relates to local policing. So we don't know yet how that is going to go, but we will continue to keep you updated as we learn any new details. But guys, thank you so much for streaming along. It is time to go ahead and take a quick break. One of the things I want to let you know as we come back, coming up next, we're going to be checking in with meteorologist Alex Forbes about what we can expect with the storm, Erin, that we are tracking. And we want to let you know again what we can expect with some of our weather. So when we come back, we're going to get to that, and we'll see you back here coming up next. Four. Well, welcome back. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thank you so much for streaming along with us. We continue to await an update from Fulton County. The district attorney's office is going to update us here soon about a cold case arrest. This happened back in 2007, and I want to let you know that this is actually a pretty significant development because it's taken nearly 20 years for law enforcement to make this arrest. So we're going to be getting to that in just a little bit. But in the meantime, as we await them to come out and give us an update on that case, we're going to get to some weather stories because I know some of you here in North Georgia, as we look at Catoosa County and upwards closer to the Tennessee state line, dealt with some severe weather overnight, and quite a few people actually had to be evacuated from their homes. So I'm going to talk through a little bit of what we know from these evacuations. So severe storms and heavy rains actually triggered flash flooding in North Georgia last night. And dozens of people had to evacuate from their homes as they flooded in Catoosa County. You're actually taking a look at some images that we were able to get from first responders' Facebook page. And we know this happened near the Tennessee state line. Swiftwater rescue teams actually had to go into 2 apartment complexes. And this was in Fort Oglethorpe. In all, they had to rescue about 115 people. Because if you can imagine, some of these apartment complexes had water up to the waistline. That's why those Swiftwater rescue teams were deployed to get people out. And we want to continue to keep you updated because as of right now, the good news is everyone was able to be saved. There's no one was severely hurt, but it is a situation we're continuing to monitor because those heavy rains came in swiftly and caused that flash flooding. So I want to bring in meteorologist Alex Forbes to add some context to this. And Alex, as we continue to look at the situation, tell me a little bit about how quickly this rain came in and what those people experienced.
Yeah, Ariel, it was right up there along the Tennessee-Georgia state line where some of the heaviest rain fell. This is the 24-hour rainfall here on Fox 5 Live Viper. So where Fort Oglethorpe is actually just across the Walker County line, but it was from Fort Oglethorpe to that southern end of Chattanooga. This is where Interstate 24 flooded, right where Interstate 75 runs into it, just south and east of the city, and then up as you're headed towards Cleveland, right? So you've got that big mall right there in Chattanooga. It was right in there where we got over 5 to 6 inches of rain in that northern part of Catoosa County. So when you get all of that rain relatively quickly, that's when you run into flooding instances like this. Now, yesterday we had a flash flood warning in effect for these areas, and this flash flood warning that we had was the same type that we saw in Cleburne County, Alabama, just a couple of weeks ago, where unfortunately one person passed away there. I did also see from our colleagues over at Fox Weather that 3 people unfortunately lost their lives yesterday in Hamilton County. That is where Chattanooga is, right? So Hamilton County runs up like this and then back down to the Georgia state line. So that's what happened yesterday. Whenever you get a lot of rainfall really quickly, you can run into issues like this, and that's what we're going to be on the lookout for through the day today. We do have a flood watch in effect for Catoosa and Walker counties again this afternoon, and that's going to continue all across the northern Georgia state line here all the way over to Towns County because we saw that saturated soil from this week's rain in isolated amounts up to 4 inches. Rainfall totals up to 4 inches will be possible through the afternoon today. Ariel?
I know how terrifying that must have been for those people who were monitoring the situation. I mean, you're going to sleep, and the last thing anyone wants to do is wake up and find waist-deep water in their living space. Yeah. So as we continue to look ahead towards maybe a little bit farther south here in the metro Atlanta area, what does this kind of mean? And I know so many of our viewers, right, are regional. We have people streaming with us from Florida, which we're going to talk about, Erin, in just a bit. But we have people all over the southeast and even beyond. So as we kind of look here globally in the North Georgia area, what does the weather look like? Yeah,
so I think we're going to see somewhat of a similar pattern to yesterday. So we're not looking at a ton of activity right now on Fox 5 Live Viper, but through the afternoon, that's going to pick up. Look at this down to the south, a wave of heavier rain beginning to push into the metro area. And then by the time we get towards 8, 9 o'clock tonight, I really think that's when I'm going to be on the lookout for some of the heaviest rain across the northern part of the state, the same spots that saw the flooding yesterday. But look, I would throw this in there as well. I think it's going to be difficult to see the same thing in the same place twice comparing yesterday to today. So, yesterday we had all those issues in Catoosa County. Today, that issue might be somewhere else. Our ground is already really saturated, and if you get those rainfall totals racking up real quick, then you could run into that issue in that specific location. Now, I'll throw this in there, though. Through the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning, we will have some scattered showers, but by and large, there's going to be a noticeable difference from this afternoon to tomorrow afternoon in terms of the rain coverage. I think a lot more people are going to stay dry tomorrow rather than today.
Okay, good to know. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on that, kind of like I'm keeping an eye on what's behind you.
Yep.
So Tropical Storm Erin, not a hurricane yet.
Right.
What's the trajectory? What are we expecting?
So you're right. It's not a hurricane yet, and it is just barely hanging on to tropical storm status, actually. It has been overcoming a lot of wind shear and a lot of dry air. You see some of these vibrant colors really fading away here in the last little bit, but the expectation is that the conditions will continue to improve from Erin now as you look at this tracking over towards the western Atlantic Ocean, going from tropical storm status eventually to major hurricane status, winds of 115, 120. And there has been a shift in the cone as well, and this is a good shift. Notice it is further away from the British Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. Instead, it takes more of that northward trajectory. Now, the reason for the shift is when we look at all of our global models here, you see that they're actually in very good agreement in terms of keeping this away, not only from the Lesser Antilles and over towards Puerto Rico and Hispaniola, but also this sharp northward turn away from the east coast of the United States. Now, this is what you call the deterministic model for all of these. So the catch-all, if you will. Whenever you dig into the details of the European or the GFS, you get what's called the ensemble. Think of it like a band. Every model is its own instrument. It has a series of instruments. So the ensemble show you what happens when you change one little slight thing in the storm. All of the European ensembles keep the storm away from the U.S. The GFS ensembles here, right? The main model is the red line. All the ensembles are the white lines. There is only one out of about 40 that take it even close to the Bahamas. And then we take a look at the sea surface temperatures. You see it's moving into really warm water. So I show that to point out the fact that, yes, the models are keeping the storm away from us here in north and central Georgia. And that's a good thing because it's going to have plenty of opportunity to strengthen thanks to these warm sea surface temperatures.
Alex, I know that the minute it gets closer to the Gulf, if it is able to make it to that kind of point.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to come anywhere near the Gulf. Yeah, so the Gulf's over there. It's going to make this northward turn and steer clear by several hundred miles of the Gulf.
And, you know, one of the things I wanted to ask you as well, I know we've talked about the Saharan dust and how that has affected the situation. Is that continuing to affect Erin? Would that weaken it? Would it strengthen it? What's the result?
So the Saharan dust has actually been impacting it. That's part of the reason why it has not been able to gain its steam, right? It's not up to hurricane status yet. So whenever you have the Saharan dust, that typically means you have dry air. In fact, not typically. It does mean you have dry air. And dry air and hurricanes do not get along. But it is expected to enter an environment that is more favorable for development in the absence of that Saharan dust. So the answer is yes, we've had it, but it is expected to subside and not be so much of a factor going forward.
Got it. Okay, good to know. So at this point, I mean, Tropical Storm Erin, I know at one point we were looking at this potentially becoming a hurricane, but based on what you've just told me, and I'm kind of putting this for people in our YouTube chat here, we've had some people streaming with us from Southeast Florida who were a little concerned, as I would expect with hurricanes, but it's kind of looking like this may not be one that they should worry about right now.
Right. So I would boil it down to this. There is confidence growing that Erin is going to turn out to sea. I think if you're on the U.S. East Coast from Key West to Miami to Daytona up to Savannah, Charleston, the Outer Banks, all the way up into the northeastern United States, you are going to be looking at the likelihood of probably some high surf late next week. Outside of that, not much of an impact. The only other impact I would highlight for us Americans would be cruises to the Turks and Caicos and then Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands and anything down in the Lesser Antilles. Those are likely going to be impacted by high surf, even with the storm staying that far away here into the next week. But Ariel, still expecting it to become a hurricane, right? It's just going to stay away from the U.S. mainland.
Got it. Okay, good to know. The more it stays away from us, I think we all breathe that sigh of relief, and it makes your job a little easier.
Just a little.
Just a little. Okay, Alex, we have probably a little bit of time left. Would you mind giving us a quick overview of what to expect for maybe our week ahead if people here locally are wanting to know how to plan their weeks, wanting to understand what's what's going on.
Yeah.
There we go.
Here it is. So today's going to be one of our best chances of rain. A 60% chance of seeing showers and storms today. In fact, we're already seeing them on Fox 5 Live Viper right now. A 30% chance of showers for tomorrow. So maybe a better day to spend outside. We're likely looking at a little more in the way of sunshine as well. That's what's going to drive up the temperatures just a bit more. And then here on into the weekend, here come the high temperatures yet again. 92, 91 for Saturday and Sunday. I think if you had to pick out a day to spend outside in terms of little impact on your afternoon plans from the weather, that would probably be Saturday. Only a 20% chance of rain there. Sunday we'll have a little more in the way of cloud cover. Temperatures a degree or two cooler. But then here we go into next week with some low 90s, which our average high is now 89. So that is going to put us above average for the first time in a while by the time we start next week.
Yeah, Alex, I definitely felt that average, as you say, yesterday when I just felt my face being all sticky in this humidity.
That humidity yesterday, that was something we hadn't felt in a minute.
I was spoiled, and this always happens. Like the first cool relief you get, you just get, even if you weren't wanting fall yet, you started to go, maybe, what if? And then just as quickly, Georgia takes it away.
And I would caution you on this. I think the past couple of days, week and a half, that was fake fall. We still have fake fall. Then we'll get real fall. Fake fall is typically sometime in September, then we warm back up. It's just welcome to Georgia.
It's the list that we always see. It's like fake fall, you're here, and according to Alex Forbes, we're still back up here. Fake fall.
It is still August 13th.
You're not wrong. I had to check which month I was in the calendar year there for a bit. So, Alex, thank you so much.
Yep.
You guys, thank you so much for streaming with us. It's been a pleasure to have you. If you're listening along on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM, it's wonderful to have you as a listener. And if you're streaming along here, Fox Local or one of our fast channels, we appreciate you. If you have a comment in our YouTube channel, you want to ask us about some of the stories we've been covering, feel free, and I'll get to those. Coming up next, we're actually going to be checking in with our Caitlin Pratt about Spelman Move-In Day. And we're going to get to that and some other news stories after this.
You can listen to Fox 5 Live on the Fox 5 Radio 1 network. Just tune your HD radio to 107.9 HD2 FM.
2, 1. Well, welcome back. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thank you so much for streaming with me. It is great to have you on our Wednesday morning. So I want to keep you guys up to date on some national news we are following. And this involves President Trump's visit to the Kennedy Center today. You're taking a live look where the president is not yet there, but we are expecting him to arrive. And I'm going to talk you guys through a little bit about what we know so far, because President Trump is expected to appear at the Kennedy Center to announce the first recipients of its Hallmark honors. Now, you may remember President Trump took control of the institution's board earlier this year. This has been something that has garnered a lot of discussion from people on both sides. But this is an iconic performing arts complex, the Kennedy Center, and Trump is taking control of its board. And this is something that people have said he's continuing to do as he puts his stamp on Washington, D.C. But we're going to come back to this and check in just a little bit as the president is expected to visit the Kennedy Center today. But I would like to take you guys here locally to Spelman College, where our Caitlin Pratt is actually standing by. And in case you guys didn't know, today is move-in day for the students at Spelman College. They are welcoming the class of 2029. Caitlin Pratt joining us live. And Caitlin, I just have to say, the class of 2029, woof.
I know. We're getting old, Ariel. We're getting old. That's for sure. Good morning to you. It has been such an amazing morning here. I've been hyped up. Behind me, they're taking a break right now, but all throughout the morning, we had welcome ambassadors. Everyone dressed in light blue. They had pom-poms. They were screaming cheers, dancing, yelling welcome to everyone who was arriving here. It is move-in day here at Spelman College. Go ahead and take a look at some video we did capture earlier of that whole welcome ceremony as more than 600 students make their way here day one of their college journey, their college experience. And there's going to be some changes this year, not just for the new students, but returning students are going to notice some changes as well. Two of the dorm buildings here, the residence buildings, they've been renovated. And we got a look at it earlier this week. Really slick, really cool, with updated elevators, air conditioning. Can you believe a lot of these buildings, still two of them, don't have air conditioning? That's how historic this campus really is. They've also implemented some new security measures for incoming students. So all around, a lot of brand new things for returning students to look forward to. We actually caught up with some folks earlier as they made their way inside.
I'm so excited about this year because not only do we have a really nice class coming in, over 650 students, which is amazing, but this year we have done some improvements with our residence halls. We have 2 new residence halls that's been covered. We're excited about that. We have a new coffee shop on campus, and we're just excited and thrilled to have all our students on campus this year.
Advice for incoming students just on getting acclimated.
Everyone here has a sister. And that's the magic of Spelman College. So you have a friend. You don't have to do this alone. Don't be afraid. Don't worry about what region of the country you're from. Just come in, relax. If you have any challenges, reach out to the Division of Student Affairs, and we can make sure that we connect you to the right person that you might need or the right services that you may need. But rely on your Spelman sisters.
Love that. And finally, what's it like to see parents a little teary-eyed and
oh my God,
dropping their young ladies off here?
This is my favorite time of the year, right? It is filled with so much hope and aspiration, and the parents are just so excited because their children are coming to college. Many of our students, their mothers went here. They've been thinking about Spelman since they were in middle school, sometimes elementary school, and to see the dream come true and know that we provide that opportunity. Hey, we are the originators of Black Girl Magic, and so that is fascinating for us.
I love that. Perfect soundbite.
All right,
yes.
Thank you.
How awesome is he, the VP of Student Affairs, the originators of Black Girl Magic here at Spelman College. So fun. And what a special day here. What's making it even more special, especially for 3 separate students, they're going to be blessed by what is called the Move-In Day Mafia, a mob of volunteers who descend on their dorm rooms and they decorate it to their heart's content, whatever they'd like. This is all part of a nonprofit effort across the nation, Ariel, and 3 of those students are going to be blessed like that today. Yeah, they're the young men and women aged out of foster care system, so this is really, for many of them, the first room of their own. So that's going to be extra special. First day today here at Spelman College on Atlanta's west side. Really fun morning here today.
It just warms my heart, Caitlin. I mean, I think I can remember my move-in day on my college campus and just the emotion from my parents, from myself, so many new beginnings. I know you have a little one and it may be a little ways off yet, but pretty soon you may be doing this.
Listen, a whole lot of nostalgia. I was talking about that earlier with our Elise Edie, just thinking back to like when we first arrived on campus and all like the different things that we had to get acclimated to, you know, those joint showers and bathrooms and all the things. So yeah, bringing it back for me. That's for
you
sure.
Definitely learned some good core people skills, some good, you know, backbone skills. College is formative, that is for sure. So definitely sending all the best vibes to the students of Spelman as they start, and especially to those foster kids who are going on this new adventure. Really heartwarming. Caitlin, thank you so much. Okay, guys, I'm going to bring you back in here to studio as we continue to track some stories. One thing I think I want to get to, I'm going to take you to give you a look at our at a news conference we are awaiting that is set to start soon. But first, actually, I want to take a look over here. It looks like we have President Trump speaking from the Kennedy Center. So I'm going to take you in. I want to see if we can listen into a little bit about what President Trump has to say. As you know, he is supposed to speak at the iconic Performing Arts Center today. The Kennedy Center is supposed to give out some performing arts awards. So let's listen in onto what President Trump is speaking about right now.
A real talent, never been given the credit for the talent. There was nobody else could have done the roles that he did like he did. I'm not even close, and they've tried, and they didn't work out too well. His name is Sylvester Stallone. So it's very few, almost, if any, people that could have taken a name and made it so incredible, like Rocky, Rambo, Creed, and others. But think of it, Rocky, Rambo, if you did one, you're good. You do 2. And I'll never forget, I was a young guy, and I went to see a thing called Rambo, and it had just come out. I didn't know anything about it, but I was in a movie theater, like we used to go to movie theaters a lot. And I said, this movie is phenomenal. What the heck? And that turned out to be a monster. Rocky is Rocky. I mean, the way that happened, you know, Sly had no money, nothing, and he went around, and everybody wants to do a boxing movie. It's the most, you know, probably more than any other type of character, boxing, always boxing. It's so great. And there's rarely been anything like this one. John Voight did a great one, as you know. Champ, great. I think that was right there, too. John Voight's a phenomenal person, phenomenal actor. But Sly came in and he had no money. He wrote a script along with thousands of other people writing scripts on a boxer. And for some reason, a studio picked up this and liked it. And Sly he's in an old car that he came in from Brooklyn or someplace in New York, but I think Brooklyn. It barely made it to California. He was sleeping in the car. I mean, he had nothing. And he wanted control over who the actor was going to be, because he said it can't be successful if you're going to pick a movie actor with a bad build, okay? A nice face, but a bad body. And he said, I can't have these guys, because he's a tough cookie, and he knew exactly what it took. He knew what a boxer's body was. So they brought him one, and I won't tell you who it was, but it was a big name. But the chest wasn't exactly what you need. One shot and your heart would pop out. That wasn't too good. Then he did another one. He was fat, sloppy, but had a good face. Then he did another one and another one and another one. And he turned it down. He wouldn't take $1 million. He wouldn't do it. And it turned out that when they saw him, they said, you know, you'd be actually pretty good for this role. And he had never done this before, anything like it. But think of it, he turned down $1 million. He had nothing. He refused to let somebody else play. He didn't want to play it. He wasn't originally, he did it as a writer. But he ended up playing it because he couldn't find anybody else that fit the role. And who knew what would have happened? He's become a legend of the silver screen, a true legend, and he's a great guy. He's a little bit tough, a little bit different, I will tell you. He's a little tough guy. But he's a phenomenal person with a phenomenal wife and family. Incredible wife, incredible family. His film's grossing more than $7.5 billion, which is either a record or very close to it. I can't imagine anybody doing more. If you add up Rambo and Rocky and these others, I can't imagine anybody doing much more. 7.5 billion worldwide over the course of 6 decades. And Sly is a pillar of the really American pop culture and a Hollywood superstar like few others, and one of the biggest names on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In fact, the only one that's a bigger name on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, they say, is a guy named Donald Trump. I'm on the Hollywood Walk of Fame too, if you can believe that one. But he's amazing. He's really amazing. And he's actually a great actor. Fourth will be together celebrating one of the most revered singers of the American disco era, Gloria Gaynor. Best known for her chart-topping 1978 hit, I Will Survive. Gloria won the 1980 Grammy for Best Disco Recording, and her song was inducted into the National Recording Registry in 2016. 4 decades later, Gloria won a second Grammy in 2020 for her gospel album Testimony, which is incredible. Truly a historic achievement, not only in terms of the years that have gone by to be great that long, but to have the two top of anything in that span of time, and with that kind of period between, is pretty amazing. But I will say that I Will Survive is an unbelievable song. I've heard it, you know, like everyone else here, thousands of times. And it's one of those few that get better every time you hear it. And nobody can sing it like her. And that's an honor. So, Gloria Gaynor, thank you. Thank you very much. And finally, we'll be honoring one of the greatest rock bands of all time, Kiss. So Kiss was formed in 1973 in New York City by founding band members, and incredible people, by the way, Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Ace Frehley, and Peter Criss. Kiss became a global phenomenon, sold more than 100 million records worldwide, and produced 30 gold albums and lots of other things they produced. They made a fortune. And they're great people, and they deserve it, and they work hard, and they're still working hard, and it's an honor to present Kiss. Thank you very much. Got it? Yeah. Thank you. And they're going to do something very special. Kiss is going to be here on a little bit before
to President Donald Trump as he presents the awards at the Kennedy Performing Arts Center. You hear he's honoring Sylvester Stallone, Kiss, and some other actors and performing arts icons. We're going to continue to follow this, and we'll bring you any news and the latest updates right here in the Fox Local app. It's time to take a quick break. When we come up next, I want to let you know about the governor, Georgia's governor, proclaiming this month as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. We're going to get into into why and what the governor is doing, and specifically a state task force to help prevent childhood cancers and prolong the survival rate for those dealing with horrible diagnoses. So we're going to get to that coming up next. Two, one. Well, welcome in. Thank you so much for streaming along with us on your Wednesday afternoon. It is great to have you guys here. So I want to let you know, next month here in the state of Georgia is going to be Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And our Eli Jordan actually caught up at the state capitol a little bit about why this is. So Eli, good morning to you. About to be good afternoon. What did you learn at the state capitol today?
Hey, good morning, Ariel. Yes, the Governor Kemp came in here to sign a proclamation declaring September Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And the reason why that's important is that they introduced a Childhood Pediatric Cancer Task Force. A lot of states, they have, task force to, keep an eye on their, cancer patients, trying to, watch the environment and other things, and advocacy and resources and things. And they all, states have plans to help, their citizens dealing with cancer. And not all of them have a task force, though, dealing with pediatric cancer, except for 13 states. And Georgia just now became the 13th state to introduce its childhood pediatric task force. And so that's a big deal, because that integrates all the nonprofits and hospitals together, and they can, as one body, determine, which direction Georgia needs to go, and asking for grants and things like that. And I spoke to the president of Raleigh, Dean Crow, and here's what she had to say why this is important.
Super great question. It is critical that we fund pediatric cancer research, because kids' cancer is so different than adult cancer. So we need targeted therapies for our kids, which only will come through research being funded, and then that's the way we're going to advance the needle. We're super excited that there have been drugs that have recently been approved just for pediatric cancer, and we're seeing great results from that. So hopefully the funding can continue on a national level, and we would love it to be on a state level too, because we have great research happening here in Georgia at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, Emory, and in Augusta, and we need that to continue.
And pediatric cancer research is important because children and pediatric cancer act totally different than cancer does in adults. I mean, child can have the same type of cancer than adult have, but the treatments, child will totally react differently and the cancer will react differently. And so, that's why it's very important, because pediatric cancer is a totally different monster than adulthood cancer. And with Georgia being the 13th state in the country for its task force, it's a big deal.
I'm so glad you said this. It's really wonderful that we were able to get this with you. We actually need to switch gears here. It looks like we have a news conference that is set to begin. Thank you so much for letting us know about this. Great news for the state of Georgia as we fight this battle against childhood cancers. So guys, I want to let you know, it looks like we have a news conference about to begin and the arrest of a 2007 cold case murder. We're going to bring that up for you, and I'd like to let you listen in. I think this is about to get underway.
And it seems as though he found one in Sandy Springs Police Department. Detective John Nanoff, who has done an amazing job putting this together. And if you have been here with us for other cold cases, you know that Cheryl McCullum of the Hateville Police Department has been an integral part of this case. This case involves what are just horrific facts. We know that we had a young lady move down here like young people do to start her life, Miss Nicole Alston, and that's a name that I want you to remember because that is the important name. She was 24 years old at the time of her death. When they found her body, it was cut. They found 13 pieces of her body, but they were not able to identify her. And the reason that they were not able to identify her is because until this day, we still have not been able to find her hands, her feet, or her head. And so there was no way to identify her. It is modern science and really the sheriff's department who decided many, many years ago to load up the DNA from this case into the system. Luckily for us, Miss Alston's sister tried to do ancestry, and that was the first time that we were able to identify this young lady. Once we identified her, we were able to find really a wonderful story and a trail of love. I have here today with me Miss Sylvia Alston. This is Miss Nicole Alston's mother. What you will find out that her and this detective have a lot in common, that once her daughter went missing, she returned to Georgia no less than half a dozen times to try to locate her and was helped by the Palmetto Police Department and other police departments, but was never able to locate her daughter. And unfortunately, now we know why. Her daughter was no longer with us. He was with God at that time. I do want you all, like I said, to have time to ask very specific questions. I can tell you that we are going to take our time so that we put together an indictment correctly, but it will involve human trafficking as well as this murder, because we believe that this victim was trafficked prior to her murder, that this involves classic domestic violence where the young lady was basically not going to allow both her lover and, I hate to say such a nasty term, but really cash cow, the person that was bringing her money, go. And it ended tragically in this death. And so we very much plan to pursue this, but we're going to take our time with this indictment, but expect an indictment around the end of October. With that, I would like you to be able to ask questions, mainly of our detectives in this case. So if you will step forward. Again, this, like I said, it is the person that would not let this case go. Are there any questions that you specifically have for him?
Sir, if you could first just talk about just the emotions involved in this case and to finally bring some answers to the family.
Oh, I'm a parent of Wes. And
you just heard our Deidre Dukes actually ask a question about this
Feelings of
situation
frustration,
and
abandonment,
closure to the
that,
family.
you know, that,
We're continuing to follow
these are
this
often
case. An
what's
arrest
felt.
was made in a brutal 2007 cold case murder. And as you heard District Attorney Fonnie Willis say, they believe that this woman's lover was using her for money. And she was found along a Troup County road in just a horrible condition. We know that they are continuing to work this case, but it was because a family member actually uploaded DNA evidence to Ancestry that really helped to break this case open. It has been almost 20 years that a family's been seeking justice in their missing loved one, and it was through that DNA evidence they were able to identify the missing loved one and then ultimately make this arrest in this case. So it is time to prepare for our News at Noon, which is set to begin here shortly. That's coming up next on the other side of this, and we'll continue to follow this story for you. You can find more information about it online on fox5atlanta.com, and of course we're going to follow the latest news stories for you right here in Fox Local, and our News at Noon is set to begin in this app here momentarily. Thanks so much for streaming with us, guys.
The mother of the DeKalb County officer who lost his life in Friday's shooting is speaking out. We're going to hear from her. And 3 people are injured after a car slams into an apartment building. Why that car was in such a hurry.
And Brooke, I'm already tracking showers on Fox 5 Live Viper, expecting those to become storms later this afternoon. We're timing it out, plus tracking Tropical Storm Erin in your Fox 5 Storm Team forecast.
A lot to get to this afternoon, and thank you for joining us for Fox 5 News at Noon.